After James Harden choked again in the playoffs and straight up embarrassed himself against the Nuggets in Game 7, I started wondering, is he the biggest choker of all time? I mean, the competition is tough. There's been plenty of players who just couldn't bring it in the playoffs the way they did in the regular season. And then there are those who completely fall apart in clutch moments, like meltdown level stuff. There have been big guys like Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, Chris Webber, or Joel Embiid who just could never keep that same level of play in the playoffs. Take Mailman for example. If you just look at his stats, it kinda seems like he kept up his regular season numbers. But when you dig a little deeper and check out his efficiency, we're talking about going from 51.6% shooting in the regular season to just 46.3% in the playoffs. That's a big dip. Now look, if he had won a ring, people might have overlooked those weaker shooting numbers. But since he didn't, yeah, he definitely earns his spot on the all-time chokers list. Same thing with Ewing. He dropped from 50.4% shooting in the regular season to 46.9% in the playoffs. And what really stamped his name as a choker was that brutal moment in the 95 conference semis home game against Indiana when he missed a clutch, wide open layup. His legacy took another hit in the 97 conference semis when the Knicks blew a 3-1 lead to the Heat. Chris Webber got hit with the choker label way back in college, playing for Michigan's legendary Fab Five. He called a timeout they didn't have in the 1993 NCAA championship game. That meant a technical foul and pretty much ended the game right there. North Carolina took it 77-71. Now, to be fair, Webber still had an all-star NBA career, but he never really became that clutch guy. The closest he got to a title was with the Sacramento Kings, but he always came up short. Sometimes it was on him, sometimes it was on the refs. But that's a whole other video. And what can you even say about Joel Embiid? Just look at how hard his numbers dropped in the playoffs. The most brutal example, his MVP season. He was putting up 33.1 points a game in the regular season. Then in the playoffs, that dropped to just 23.7. His shooting fell off a cliff from 54.8% to a rough 43.1%. And do we even need to mention the fact that he's never made it to a conference finals? Not once. And speaking of playoff heartbreaks that still haunt fans, plenty of people remember exactly what went down in Game 1 of the 1995 NBA Finals. Orlando was up 110-107 with just 10 seconds left. Then Nick Anderson stepped to the line and missed 4 straight free throws. If he just hit one, it would have been a 2-possession game. Pretty much a wrap, but none. Next thing you know, Kenny Smith drains a 3, sends it to overtime, and Houston ends up stealing the win. But there have been worse choke jobs in the NBA Finals. Back in 1978, in Game 7 of the Finals between Seattle and Washington, Dennis Johnson had one of the all-time worst performances. He shot 0 for 14 from the field. He didn't just miss everything, he also had more turnovers than assists. He basically left his teammates hanging, and they had to wait a whole year to get revenge on the Bullets. Then there's John Starks in Game 7 of the 1994 Finals. That dude shot 2 for 18. The Knicks ended up losing to the Rockets by just 6 points. Though, probably the most famous choke in NBA Finals history belongs to one of the greatest players of all time, LeBron James. In 2011, going up against Dallas, LeBron played below his usual level in the first 3 games, but Miami still managed to take a 2-1 lead. Then came the collapse, a total meltdown. This was the textbook definition of what Pat Riley had in mind when he came up with the term choking. LeBron straight up got scared of winning. Over the final 3 games of the series, he averaged just 15.3 points while playing over 40 minutes a night. At one point, D. Wade supposedly told him Don't just stand there, motherfucker. Do something. Dallas won the series 4-2. Also, in more recent years, there have been players who just couldn't show up to the playoffs. DeMar DeRozan even got nicknamed the Frozen because of how cold he went when it mattered most. And Paul George? Yeah, they started calling him Pandemic P. Enough said. And who could forget the wild mental meltdown by J.R. Smith in Game 1 of the 2018 Finals when he straight up forgot the score? But seriously, has anyone choked in the playoffs more times than James Harden? It's not just that his numbers dropped in the postseason. Harden has pretty much become the face of teams falling apart in elimination games, and he keeps letting people down over and over again. One of his first big playoff fails came in 2017 against San Antonio. That was the second round, and Houston lost the series 4-2. In Game 6, at home, no less, Harden scored just 10 points and shot 2 for 11 from the field. Brutal. Maybe the most important game of his career came a year later in the 2018 Western Conference Finals loss to Golden State. Harden dropped 32 points. Yeah, but it came on a super ugly 12 for 29 shooting night. Another disappointing Game 7 came in 2021 when Harden was with Brooklyn and lost to Milwaukee in the second round. He played 53 minutes and scored just 22 points, shooting a rough 29.4% from the field. Then came another disaster in 2023, this time with Philly. They blew a 3-2 lead against Boston in the second round of the East. In Game 6, with a chance to close it out at home, Harden scored just 13 points on 25% shooting. Then in Game 7, he was even worse, only 9 points in 40 minutes. It felt like deja vu, another elimination game, another vanishing act. Then in the first round of the 2024 playoffs with the Clippers, tied 2-2 against Dallas, Harden came up short again. In Games 5 and 6 combined, he scored just 23 points. And the shooting percentages? Man, I don't even want to read those numbers out loud. That mess is straight up shameful. And the latest meltdown? Game 7 against Denver. Harden dropped just 7 points in 35 minutes. Dude pulled a Houdini. Might as well have been courtside with the fans. In his last 4 Game 7s, Harden's just 1-3. He's averaged only 13.8 points, shot 27% from the field, and a brutal 17% from 3. That's not just bad. That's can't show your beard in public bad. He is one of the highest paid players of the last decade, and when it matters most, this is what you get? All of that money, all of that hype, for this? Mavs announcer Brian Damaris went viral when he called out Harden's career and off-court behavior in a way that was harsh, yeah, but also honest and dead on.
Hey James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
He broke it down perfectly. So now you tell me, has the NBA ever seen a bigger choker than James Harden? Because, if you ask me, no one stacked up more disappointing playoff moments than James Harden. If choking were a stat, he'd be the league's all-time leader.